I previously made a video that, I'd found an ancestor for a client that was very recent, like born in 1914, and that her parents were listed as raza blanca or white race, which is quite a rare thing to be listed in Mexico. This was in Jalisco. And, some people asked, like, okay, if you trace the lines further back, what do you find? And actually, surprisingly, from that one line, all the lines I traced from her, which is several sets of great grandparents, once it got to the caste system era, they were all like this. They were all just listed as straight up Spaniards. So that was a basically a complete European line. There is always a chance that further back in time, in the early 1700s, late 1600s, or what have you, there could have been a person that mixed in that was mestizo or indigenous. That's certainly always possible. And then with the generations, because of the way the caste system worked, that person would then be, further on, like 3 generations later, that person would then be considered white because, if they kept marrying white, well, then the bloodline would just become European. So that could be theoretically possible, but in a lot of cases I've seen that a lot of Spaniards typically just married white and only white for several generations. At least I witnessed this a lot in northern Mexico. I could see why it would happen in Jalisco. Also, if you had Spaniards that were, more Sephardic Jews or crypto Jews, a lot of them also practiced endogamy. So this would make sense as to why the lines just remained pretty white. But it's pretty crazy to see that it remained so all the way up until like the 1900s from whenever they originated. Again, I was kind of tracing all her lines in general to try to get to caste system era in many different branches to see what the ethnic affiliations are. However, if I do trace it all the way back as far as possible, I'm sure I would just see that her lines just didn't really mix.